Welcome back into Crimson Tide Kickoff. I'm Gary Harris. This Alabama-Tennessee rivalry has some crazy history, and we all know the Crimson Tide in the driver's seat in recent years. Our William Galloway takes us on a look back at some of the most memorable moments from Alabama's last 13 wins.
The last 13 years have been extremely one-sided in this so-called rivalry game that has given fans moments like,
It's blocked by Alabama! It is blocked by Alabama! The Crimson Tide wins! The Crimson Tide wins!
Terrence Cody's block saved the Crimson Tide season back in 2009. The last 13 years, Alabama has outscored the Vols 489 to 160, but the stretch hasn't been completely forgettable for the Vols. In 2017, UT celebrated this pick six by going for two.
Inside the 20, he's going to score. Touchdown, 97 yards.
We've even seen Butch Jones cleaning the windows of a Mercedes that many speculate to be Coach Saban's. But according to Saban, the former Tennessee head coach has done more than use a squeegee during his time in Tuscaloosa.
No, Butch is he's an off-the-field coach for us. He does a lot of things for me personally as a special assistant in terms of, evaluating certain things on, practice film and evaluating, a lot of organizational things internally here. And he's done a really good job for me, and I really like having him, be a part of our staff. So he's done a really good job.
So much is made of the Saban coaching tree, and who knows, there are some that believe Butch Jones will be next. Reporting for CTKO, I'm William Galloway.
Thank you, Williams. There's so much to unpack in this game as far as a preview, and we do it every week because we want to look at it from the opposite side. It's time now to go behind enemy lines. William Galloway talked to the voice of the Vols, the very esteemed Bob Kesling, this week to discuss today's matchup, and William joins us now in the newsroom. William, you had quite a conversation with Bob.
Hey, Gary, it's great to talk to him. I mean, he does a great job for the Vols, and his Tennessee Vols enter this game 2-2 on the season, but they've lost 2 in a row. Bob says in a rivalry game like this, both sides will come ready to play.
It's interesting how this Alabama game kind of gets both of these teams to perk up a little bit. It kind of gets everything boiling. And so I think Tennessee will come out and play hard against Alabama, but they've got to eliminate the mistakes if they want to stay in the game.
Turnovers have plagued the Vols all season long, especially last week versus Kentucky.
Tennessee threw back-to-back interceptions that were run back for touchdowns. I don't care how good you are. That's hard to overcome. And Tennessee wasn't able to do it. And after those interceptions, it kind of took all the energy out of the stadium and the enthusiasm out of the team, and they played pretty listless in the second half. They've got to change that this week.
One change we saw in the Vols program this week was the firing of defensive line coach Jimmy Brumbaugh. Jeremy Pruitt fired Brumbaugh on Sunday, saying he didn't fit from a philosophical standpoint.
It is kind of strange that you make this change, but maybe that will light a fire under a bunch of people, coaches and players, saying, wait a minute, if he can lose his job, I can lose mine too. So I better go out there and play.
Offensively, the Vols had 3 quarterbacks under center last week versus Kentucky. Kesling says whoever will play versus Alabama had to prove their worth in practice this week.
Jeremy Pruitt says that he judges who's going to play on how they practice. And he says that Jarrett Garantano is the best practice quarterback they've got. He doesn't throw interceptions. He takes care of the ball. He does all the things in practice that he's supposed to do to win the job.
The Tennessee offensive line was poised to have a great season, but Kesling told me if he had to grade them at this point, it would be a C+.
It's been shocking that they haven't been better. The first 2 games, they really played pretty well, and they pushed some guys around. But then when they go up against 2 really good defenses in Georgia and Kentucky, they just didn't get much done.
Of course, Neyland Stadium is following the SEC protocol and will be at limited capacity this afternoon. Kickoff is at 2:30 p.m. Central on CBS. Live in the studio, reporting for CTKO, I'm William Galloway.
Thank you very much, William. Good to have you in the studio with us. And